Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan Rabb, the founder of YardCon, and today we've got an exciting exclusive YardCon opportunity for HBCU students to interview NBA superstar Chris Paul. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm all right, John. How about you?
I'm doing great, and this is like really exciting. You ready for the interview?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
We have Aliyah Armstrong. She's from Grambling State University, and she's a mass communications and sports journalism major. She's going to ask you questions about mentoring and giving back. So, Aliyah, what questions do you have?
Hi.
What's up,
So,
Aliyah?
so just to start off with, mentorship is a big theme in this book. So, what advice would you give a college student, just who wants to become a mentor but isn't sure where to start?
Okay. So you want to know to find a mentor or to become a mentor?
To become a mentor but isn't sure like how to start it, what route to go?
Yeah. So it's funny if you want to be a mentor to somebody. I think you almost got to seek someone out. Like it's crazy. When I was in high school, there was an elementary school right up the street, and I actually did a Big Brother, Big Sister program. Right? So I got a chance to be a mentor to a young kid who was in who was in elementary school, and that was really cool. Because they really look up to you as a big brother. And so my other advice too, if it's not just being a mentor and you're searching for a mentor, you should start thinking about somebody that you admire, right? Somebody that you admire, somebody you might like what they do or the job that they have, and you got to put yourself out there and reach out to that person. Because if you can ask that person, like, hey, I just want to come spend a day with you, or just want to ask you some questions, you'd be surprised how many people would love to give back because sometimes people don't ask them.
Right. Thank you. So, in addition to that question, how has mentoring and giving back helped you with your career and personal growth?
Yeah, mentoring and giving back has been huge. I'm not where I am in the NBA without guys who mentored me early in my career. Like when I came into the NBA, I was 19. So I had a guy named Speedy Claxton who took me under his wing. He used to, after practice, I used to go home with him and his wife and his daughter and just hang out because the NBA can be lonely. And then Bobby Jackson, my second year, he sort of showed me how to work. Like practice at 11, let's get there at 9, let's get there at 9:30, let's work out before the game. They sort of showed me that work. And so for my whole career, when I finally got to my like, let's say fourth, fifth year or whatnot, I wanted to do that for other guys. It's funny, I'm actually going to work out at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I told one of our young guys, Saban Lee, that's on our team, I told him to come work out with me. You know what I mean? And he's not required to, but I told him to come with me just because I want him to see what the work looks like. And
Right.
so if he can take anything from seeing that we was at the gym earlier, everybody usually just chill for the rest of the day, but I'm going back to lift and train or whatnot. I hope he can pass that along to somebody else.
Perfect. And it's great that you brought that up because my next question is how can early professionals effectively balance their work responsibilities with their desire to give back to their communities?
Yeah, some of this stuff I'm trying to figure out too, but I can give you my advice as best as I can. Um, it's tough, right? Balance because you got to work, right? You have to work, and then you want to give back and try to make an impact. Uh, I think the importance of community, right, and talking to other people, and I think it's hard when you try to give back by yourself, right? I've learned, and this is something else to tell you guys about. We have a thing called the Social Change Fund that was started by myself, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwayne Wade. And what we learned was that for years we had been doing so much on our own, right? I had my own foundation, philanthropy, and things that I was doing. D Wade doing the same, and same with Mello. But during the quarantine time, we decided to put this social change fund together because we realized we're stronger together, and we go out and we find other athletes or entertainers or people who want to be a part of it and give back. And we just try to do as much as we can together.
Great. I love that. I really appreciate it, especially coming from, an HBCU for sure.
No doubt.
What are your views on the NIL, policy, and what advice would you give to anyone who is in a position to build a personal brand?
Yeah, the NIL stuff is so tricky. It's so tricky, which, we've all been screaming like college athletes need to be paid, need to be paid. We've been screaming that for years. It's so tough because I'm so glad that guys and ladies are being compensated, but I just hope that the financial literacy is coming along with it, right? That's one of the biggest things that we talk about all the time is a bunch of athletes in the NBA, you get drafted at 19, 20 years old and you come into this money, but nobody has taught you anything about it, right? And so now what's happening is, of course, we know that people need money, they need to finance or whatnot, but now it's kids that's not even 19 or 20, it's 15-year-olds that's getting this money, and a lot of times there's no education that comes along with it. People don't know about taxes. We don't know about much of nothing. And I just hope that it doesn't get so out of control that now people are reaching like their peak really early, right? Because if you get everything that you wanted at 15 and 16, then why are you going to work to get any better?
Right. Yes. So can you talk to us about your AAU team, CP3? You call it family and has said it's about creating future players, but also about molding good humans. Well, not about creating future players, but about molding good humans. What does that mean to you? And how are you working to achieve that? I'm so sorry.
No, it is future players too, because these guys, it's probably one of the most humbling things that I do, and one of the things that I'd be so proud and so excited about whenever I see any of our kids. They had the hoop summit the other day, and two of our AAU kids played in it. One of my kids that just got drafted this past year, Wendell Moore, actually played against him last week. And so I think we had 12 or 13 of our kids that came through our AAU program that played in the NBA this past year. And it's something that I never get used to, because I think about how much grassroots basketball changed my life, forever. My dad spent his entire 401k on us playing travel basketball. And to be able to be just a snapshot in some of these kids' lives and hopefully be able to give them the experience that I've had is what you do it for.
Perfect. And last question, what are some ways that college students and early professionals can get involved in a community service and just make a meaningful impact?
I think in order to do that, you got to ask questions. You got to ask questions. Either that's at your school or now with social media, I think people can put stuff on the Instagram page asking, and then you see who says things back. But I think one of the biggest things, I'm thinking about this as we talk, and I've learned from all the people that work on my team, especially Carmen and everybody, there's all these times where we've had these great ideas of, oh, we want to do this, oh, we want to do this. But one of the things that we've learned is that you don't always have to reinvent the wheel, right? And that if you do enough research, a lot of times there's somebody that's already out there doing it, right? And if you can just partner with them in order to uplift it or magnify it or whatnot. Now, if it doesn't exist, then you got to do your own thing. But sometimes if you just look around, you'll find somebody who's like-minded and wants to get involved just the way that you're involved. So figuring out how you can not always reinvent the wheel, but just partner up and tag along with somebody else.
Perfect. Well, that's all that I have. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
No problem. Thank you, Aliyah.
Thanks for your questions, Aliyah. Now, Chris, I thank you for jumping on this call, talking to us. Like, you are truly an HBCU advocate. We see the work you're doing. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you so much for spending time to talk to these 4 HBCU students and really represent for the whole culture.
Man, I appreciate you, Jonathan. Also, Robert, Jeremy, Joy, Aliyah. Thank y'all. Really appreciate y'all.
Yeah, so on behalf of YardCon, on behalf of Advertising Week, and on behalf of Watch the Yard, we just want to thank you so much. Thanks for coming through.
No problem. Appreciate y'all.